Welcome back, everybody. This is another episode of the No Money Real Estate Podcast, and I've got a very, very important group of topics to go over with you today. I want to first thank everybody who saw the time in their lives to watch my first video on our idea to build homes with imported building materials. And everybody knows the video I'm talking about. I just flashed it up on the screen right now. It's still going viral. It's still growing. First of all, thank you for helping us promote this video and the important matter that it's addressing. And the second thing I want to talk about is the comments. We will flash up on the screen right now our actual comments that you can see. YouTube gave us some feedback on what these comments are. YouTube is saying is over 95% of the comments were positive. And I want to thank everybody who's excited about this. Our company has been a little bit overwhelmed. We have literally had hundreds of people reach out to us and ask us to get on a list so they could buy one of these houses, because obviously there's something to this. What I want to do today is I'm going to start answering some of the 5% questions, because I think there was a lot I wouldn't say a lot, it was only 5%. There were 5% negative questions and comments on this video. But I think a lot of these questions and comments are not actually negative, they're concern. And I want to address the concerns in this video. Let's get into it.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America. And I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I've built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those tight real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
And of course, as I'm reading these, just to prove to you that every one of these questions was true, my video team is actually going to pop it right up on the screen here so you can see it. So the first question I'm going to read to you, it says, the lot lease on the land is a great idea, but why not have a lot lease area for tiny homes? Now, this is an interesting question, because the fact of the matter is, we're not interested in building tiny homes. This is not a strategy where we can just go out and make a bunch of money in our real estate business. We are primarily a resort and cottage developer, and we do a lot of hospitality stuff, and we use tiny homes in those strategies. What we're looking at is affordable housing for Canadian families. When we looked at this strategy for affordable housing for Canadian families, we looked at what an average family in Canada is. A young family, the vast majority of cases, is a spouse and their partner, or two people and two young children. So a family of four. And you can't fit a family of four in a tiny home. That's why we're not doing it. Next question I have. One of our questioners or one of our commenters said, can you rent one of these houses after buying it? Abso-freaking-lutely not. That's not why we're doing it. We're not going to sell these homes to real estate investors. I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. We're also not going to allow anybody to rent these homes. What I'm really excited about is I have already had a very, very detailed meeting with the mayor of Whitby, where I live, and I have her support in doing this. Now, we have a lot of details to figure out. I'm going to be meeting with the town's senior authorities on this that are related to this subject, and we're going to be going through all of the details. But one thing I will stand firmly in is we are doing this to fight the housing crisis. We are doing this to build affordable homes so young families have amazing environments to raise their children in. And so we're not ever going to allow somebody to buy one of these houses and rent it right away. There's a lot of questions in here about my co-op housing strategy that I talked about in the first video, but as a co-op strategy, what we're going to do is we're going to sell these properties and we're going to sell the houses, but we're going to lease the land for the first 5 years. And the lease is not going to be expensive. It's probably going to be like $100 or something like that. It's going to be similar to what somebody will have to pay for property taxes, but we're going to lease the land for the first 5 years. And during that 5-year period, we can set rules. And one of the rules is going to be you can't rent this place. All right, here's the next question. Why would we import modular homes from China? We have tons of lumber in Canada and already build modular homes. Here's the most important thing that I want you guys to understand about this strategy that we're developing and that video. I never once in that video said we were importing modular homes. We're not doing that. Now, I went over to China and I did meet with one of the largest modular home building companies in China, and I wanted to understand their strategies. But as I was over there talking to them, it became clear to me that you're not going to solve the housing crisis with modular homes. I want to build homes that conform to building code standards in every province in Canada. And I want to build them in a way that the chief building officer and his officials, the inspectors, when they come to our job sites and inspect the homes we're building, it's going to be exactly like they're used to seeing. And let me explain what I mean by this. For those that don't understand development and how you build homes, when you build a subdivision, the very first thing you have to do is you hire onto your team an architect and engineers, and you put together your plans. Those plans are all contained in something called a site plan. And once you have that ready, you have to submit it to your town to get the site plan approved. You submit that to the chief building officer. The chief building official, the CBO, he's going to review it, and in some cases, he might actually get people to add detailed information to it. He might send it back to us with clarification on things, but eventually he's going to approve it. Once he approves it, then we have to submit a permit for each house we want to build. So when we submit that permit, along with that permit comes a list of inspections that have to be done throughout the process so the CBO and his department can ensure that this house is built to and conforms with the Ontario Building Code. And here's what it looks like. When you first start building the house, the first thing you have to do is build your foundation. And when you get that foundation built, you're normally going to build a basement and you're going to have walls and footings and everything else. But once your concrete is done, the foundation is done, you have to call the CBO's office. An inspector will come out and inspect the footings and the foundation, and he will approve it. Once he checks the box and approves it, now you can do your framing. So then you put your floor in, you put your walls up, you put your roof on, you do all the framing. As soon as you're finished all the framing, you call the CBO's office back again, you get another inspection. It's your framing inspection. Once that's done, now you're allowed to start doing your mechanical electrical. And you normally start with plumbing first. So you're going to put all your plumbing roughing in, all the plumbing in the walls and the roof and the ceiling, all of it. Then you call your building inspector and he comes back again and he does a plumbing inspection. Once that's done, then you can put your HVAC in, so your heating and air conditioning lines, and they're normally softer lines, so you always want to put your hardline plumbing in first. Once that's done, then you bring your electrical contractor in. He gets an electrical permit from the ESA, the Electrical Safety Authority, and he puts all the wiring in the walls. Then the ESA has to come back and approve it again. Once that's done, now we can put the insulation in the walls. And guess what? Once your insulation is in, your vapor barrier in, it's sealed properly, the CBO's representative, the building inspector come back again and he inspects the insulation. Once that's done, you can close up. So that you put your drywall on the walls, you tape your walls, you put your flooring in, you paint your walls, you clean up your flooring, you put your kitchen cabinets in, you put your bathroom in, and then he comes back again when you're 95% done and he does what we call an occupancy inspection. That's when somebody can move in. In that occupancy inspection, they're really looking for safety. So a lot of the railings are really important to them on stairs, smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, all of that stuff, really, really important. And then once you move in, everything is done, a final inspection is done, and the permit is closed. That's the process. So when we went over and I talked to these guys in China, I didn't want to do modular because I didn't want to go in with these walls that are already enclosed and try and convince the inspectors and worry about other permits. I wanted to do this in a way that made sense to the building inspectors and was exactly like they're used to seeing. And this is what I'm the most excited about. The company that we're working with in China is a materials supplier as well. So what we can do, and where we're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars per house, is we're ordering all the materials from China to build the house. All of the lumber, all the windows, all the doors, all the electrical equipment, all the plumbing equipment, the HVAC equipment, the flooring, the drywall, the tape, the insulation, the kitchen cabinets, quartz countertops, the bathrooms, everything. And there's some more questions we're going to listen to in here because there's people saying, why would you buy all this stuff from China? It's because Home Depot does. It's because Walmart does. It's because Rona does. See, what most people don't realize in your day-to-day life is all the big box stores that you're buying building materials from already. Guess where they get 90% of those building materials? International markets. And guess what the biggest international market is? China. So we're not doing anything really different. What we're doing, here's the strategy, and here's why we're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars per house, is we have a team here at our company of procurement experts. They have an expertise in procuring the highest quality, lowest cost materials from around the world. And we put together a materials list for every house we're going to build, and we found the best prices on these materials around the world. And you know what that means? It means instead of spending $500,000 on materials to build a house, we're going to spend $100,000. And we're going to pay another $150,000 for the lot, for the hookup to the septic system and the water, and all the labor to build the house. So that means it's going to cost me $250,000 to build the house. And we're talking a 1,400 square foot bungalow with a 2-car garage. And that size of a house in the town I live in right now is selling for $900,000. It's going to cost us $250,000 to $280,000 to build it complete, all in. I'm going to sell it for $450,000. I'm still going to make $200,000 in profit per house, which I do believe that I should be entitled if I'm going to go through all this effort. If I can figure out a way to sell an affordable house and help Canadians and I can still make a profit, isn't that what they call a win-win situation? So why am I ordering these materials from China? First of all the materials to build the house are not coming from China, but about 90% of them are. And I'm doing it because it's the same daggum materials that you're buying from Home Depot, Walmart, Rona, the building centers. It's the same materials. It's the same quality. I just figured out a way to get it cheaper, and I'm going to pass it on to everybody. Why not import it as a trailer home for a trailer park? Because that defeats the purpose. A trailer home will never be worth what a real house will be worth. And that's why I want to do this. You see, I want to spend the rest of my life helping Canadians. I want to spend the rest of my life using the skills and the expertise that God has given me to help Canadians. And yes, I'm going to make some money along the way, but that's not the reason I'm doing it. And there's going to be haters that make comments on this video and criticize me and tell me that it's not true and I'm full of shit. They have the right to believe what they want, but they just have to watch what happens, because I'm going to chronicle this whole journey through YouTube videos and you guys are all going to see it. So that's the reason I won't do that. There's no way. The next comment we're going to pull up here says, I would also have to question the quality of everything that comes from China. I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you at all for questioning the quality of the materials. But let me put this to you. Given everything that you've heard from me now, all the new people that have found my YouTube channel because of YouTube's support of our original video, go watch some of my videos and ask yourselves a question. Do I really seem like a stupid person? My reputation is going to be on every one of these houses I build. I'm going to make sure that it's the best quality materials that we're buying for our properties. And yeah, there is some shit that comes out of China, but it won't be coming to us. Here's the next question. So after 5 years, you own the land, your house is worth $800,000, you sell it and give the liberals 66% of everything. That's bullshit. I'm not even going to flatter this question with a response, because this has nothing to do with politics and this individual's opinion of the political parties in Canada. The only thing that I will say is, don't believe all the bullshit you hear online. 80% of it is false, is fake news. It's not the Liberal government, it's the government of Canada, it's CRA. CRA does not take 66% of capital gains in a property, and your primary residence is not subjected to capital gains. And you can think whatever you want. You can try and fearmonger and make Canadians believe that Carney's government is going to charge capital gains on a primary residence, but I'll tell you, I will bet you money that it never happens. A primary residence will always be exempt from capital gains. And just for the record, capital gains are not 66%. Capital gains right now are about 35%. And unless you were living under a rock for the last 8 months, the day that Mark Carney was elected as Prime Minister, he canceled the planned Liberal increase in capital gains. It's gone. It's not even on the table. Oh, I love this one. You're not helping the housing crisis. You're enabling new boomer generation to buy houses again and sell them for $850,000. What's the point of all this? Let me just quickly repeat what I just said. I'm going to build a house 80% cheaper than what they're normally built for, and I'm going to sell a house that's worth $900,000 for $450,000. I'm going to give Canadians a chance to buy a house at a price they can afford. The payments on a $450,000 mortgage over 30 years is actually cheaper than the rent you would pay to rent a similar size residence. And it's not the new boomer generation. We're looking for young families and people that want to start families. And that's what we're going to be focused on. And the question here is, what's the point of all this? It's because we want to help solve the housing crisis. That's the point. Here's the next one. The $700K home in Whitby includes land. Whose land? To lease. Will you put these cheap houses on? Well, I'm not going to go back and defend these houses anymore. I think you guys understand that these are going to be really well-built houses with really good materials. The land that we're going to do this on is land my company is going to acquire. And whatever we pay for the land, we're going to divide that by the number of houses we're building. And that will be the individual lot cost. And we're going to wrap that into the price. And we're still going to sell these really cheap. Here's the next one. What are you talking about, Ken? Exclamation point, exclamation point. Canadians never own land. We pay property taxes on the land. We will see what the problems these homes will have once they're installed. That's an uninformed person. You buy your land, you own your land, you pay property taxes. Property taxes are paid to the municipality that your land is in to cover the expenses of running the town. Your property taxes go in part to the schools, go in part to the snowplows that clean your roads, go in part to the garbage that's collected from your property. There's real reasons for property taxes. And I would bet that this person who made this comment probably has never owned a house. How much will the lease be on the land? I don't know. What we're going to look at when we determine what the lease portion of this is going to be for the leased land for the 5 years is we're probably going to see what the property taxes on the property will be and what somebody will have to pay a month. And we're going to create a lease payment that's equal to what they'll be paying in property taxes so that we can get them used to paying that expense and help them even more. This one is, what did you not factor into the $350,000 is the development fees and all the BS fees the city charges and land costs. This idea is good, but it's not going to work in Canada. Well, I'm just going to prove this person wrong because we did factor in the development fees and the cost of acquiring the land and all the other expenses related to it. We're a development company. We know what we're doing there. Here's one from an experienced person. Based on my experience, the comparable quality of materials, etc. from China would definitely not be 80% cheaper. There's always a catch. Well, I'm not even going to answer that because they are 80% cheaper. Why support China rather than your own people? I hope the person who made this comment is listening. When you buy something from Home Depot, you are most likely buying something that originated in China. But Home Depot is charging you a markup. I'm going right to China to buy that same thing at the same price. Here's the best part. On our first subdivision that we're going to do in Whitby, we're going to build between 50 and 100 homes. We are going to be employing somewhere between 100 and 150 trades from Whitby. Men and women who are in the trades in Whitby, we are going to be a major employer. And as soon as we're done that subdivision, we're going to start another subdivision in Whitby. And that's really amazing. Listen to this one. Sad and pathetic. Buy Canadian products, not slave labor produced products. Now you want to give away more than the last remaining jobs. No, I don't. I was called a traitor here. Can you believe this? You're a traitor. These are the same products you're buying from Home Depot. Did I mention that? We're going to be employing lots of great people in Canada. We just found a way to do it cheaper. Somebody says, why would you pay $300K for a home that small? I don't think they watched the video. They just looked at the little tiny home that we put on the thumbnail on the YouTube video. We'll pop it up on the screen so you can see, because that's not what we're building. What we're building is a 1,400 square foot house with a 2-car garage. Very, very big house for a new family. The last comment I'll read to you says, you need to ask why materials and labor are cheaper in China. I know why they're cheaper. It's because they make the materials and they make them to Canadian standards. And the cost of living in China is just cheaper. It's amazing. It really is. I really do appreciate all the questions. And we're going to start producing more and more videos as we get this strategy figured out. And we're going to do something really amazing with this. Now, I want to leave you with this one point. We've been contacted since we released this first video by about 50 different home builders and contractors who would like to get access to the materials. I want to tell you that my company has already received exclusive rights to distribute these materials in Canada in partnership with the company from China. So what that means is, if you are a contractor, if you are a home builder, and you would like to get in on our system, I also run a real estate training company called the Investors Growth Syndicate. And we have a community that we have hundreds of real estate investors in. We have hundreds of developers, home builders in. In that community, I help these people to achieve their goals and dreams in real estate investing. And we have already decided that we are going to sell the materials to real estate investors and other people that want to do what I'm doing and build houses, build affordable houses in Canada, because it's an amazing idea. So if there's anybody listening to this that is a real estate developer, that is a home builder, and you would like to get access to these materials in this system, you have to join the Investors Growth Syndicate. And so if you'd like to know more about joining our real estate mastermind group of developers and home builders in Canada, it's called the Investors Growth Syndicate, and why you might want to join, I want you to go into the comments and I want you to type, tell me more about IGS, or type IGS in the comments. And we'll give you a link to watch a 30-minute introduction video that will explain all the benefits of joining the Investors Growth Syndicate and how you can get in on access to all of these materials and come on this journey with us. Now, if I didn't answer a question or address a comment that you have about this strategy, ask those questions and make those comments in the comments of this video and I will address them. If we get enough of them, we'll do another Q&A video. And I want to thank the thousands and thousands of people who are applauding us for what we're doing and supporting us in what we're doing, because we really believe we can help to eliminate the housing crisis.